We're just swimming in information these days, aren't we? Especially with technology, all that fine print. It's a lot. How do you even start to understand the bedrock, the foundations of the software you use every single day? Feels like hacking through a jungle sometimes. Well, today we're bringing out the machete. We are taking a deep dive into a really foundational document, one that shaped, and honestly still shapes, our digital world, the GNU General Public License, version 3 specifically, GPL v3. And for this, we've got the actual text, the full GPL v3, published June 29th, 2007. Plus, some introductory stuff from the Free Software Foundation, the FSF. They're the organization behind it all.
Yeah, and our goal here really is to unpack this thing for you. It looks like a dense legal doc, and well, it is, but we want to get at what free software actually means here, how GPL v3 works to protect your freedoms as a user, and importantly, what responsibilities come along if you distribute or tweak software under these terms.
Right.
We'll pull out the core ideas, maybe some surprising bits that, make this crucial license click.
Exactly, because this isn't just some obscure legal theory. It's really about control. Control over the tech in your life, from like the tiniest app to the gadgets filling your home. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start right there with maybe the biggest misconception. It's right in the preamble of the license text. When the Free Software Foundation says free software, are they talking about, zero cost? Free beer?
No, not at all. That's the first hurdle, usually. When they say free, you absolutely have to think freedom, like liberty, not price. Their whole mission, as they state it, is protecting user freedom from what they call tech oligarchs. They've been at it for 40 years, apparently, and the GPL itself. They call it a free copyleft license.
Okay, that word always jumps out. It sounds different from copyright. How does that work? What's the trick?
It is different. It's almost like using copyright against itself in a clever way. Instead of using copyright law to restrict sharing and changing, copyleft uses it to guarantee those freedoms. The mechanism ensures that if you take GPL code and build on it, your new version must also be free software for anyone you give it to. It keeps the freedom flowing downstream,
Okay, so it propagates. If free means freedom, then what are the specific freedoms the GPL is designed to guarantee? The source mentions 4 essential ones.
Yeah, they're laid out pretty clearly right in the preamble. First, freedom to distribute copies.
Sure.
And yes, you can charge for the service if you want, freedom 1. Second, freedom to get the source code, or at least know you can get it if you need it. That's crucial for understanding and changing things.
Right, the underlying blueprint.
Exactly. Third, the freedom to change the software, modify it, or even take pieces of it and use the new free programs.
Okay.
And the fourth is maybe a bit meta, but important. The freedom to know you can do these things. It's about awareness and certainty.
It says right there in the intro text, most software licenses take away your freedom to share and change, but the GPL guarantees it. That feels like the core conflict, doesn't it?
That's the fundamental difference, absolutely. And GPL version 3 specifically introduced some really strong ways to protect those freedoms, building on what came before.
Let's dig into those protections. One term that always comes up with GPL v3 is tivoization. Sounds kind of specific. What is that, and why did the FSF see it as such a threat?
Tivoization.
Yeah.
Right, so imagine you buy a device, say like an early TiVo digital video recorder, which used Linux, GPL software. But the device was designed so that even if you had the source code for the GPL parts, you couldn't actually install your own modified version onto the device. It was locked down. That's tivoization, using hardware restrictions to block the freedoms the software license grants. And GPL v3 was explicitly written to stop that, at least for what it calls user products.
Okay, user products. How does the license define that? Is it just like computers?
It's broader. Section 6 defines it. It's either a consumer product, tangible personal property normally used for a personal, family, or household stuff. Think routers, smart thermostats, maybe even cars these days. And if it's borderline, the license says lean towards covering it. Or it's anything designed or sold to be put into a house.
So home devices.
Right. The FSF materials call this pattern of locking users out most unacceptable for things people use personally. So to fight it, Section 6 brings in this installation information rule.
Installation information, what does that involve?
Basically, if you distribute the compiled code, the object code intended for one of these user products, you also have to provide whatever info is needed to install and run a modified version of that code on that same product. This could be methods, procedures, maybe authorization keys, whatever it takes so that your modified version can actually run and function. It's trying to keep the hardware from becoming a jail for the software.
Makes sense. Keeping the freedom practical, not just theoretical. Now, another big hurdle for software freedom mentioned in the source is patents, software patents, how does GPL v3 handle those?
Yeah, patents are a constant shadow, the source says. Section 11 is where GPL-v3 tackles this. The core idea is to ensure patents can't make the program non-free. It does this through an automatic patent license. Any contributor, basically, a copyright holder, who allows their code under the GPL grants a broad patent license to everyone.
What kind of license?
It's non-exclusive, worldwide, and royalty-free. It covers their essential patent claims, patents they hold, that would be infringed by just using or distributing their contribution. So you can't contribute code and then sue people for patent infringement just for using that code as the GPL allows. Plus, Section 11 also prohibits discriminatory patent licenses. You can't make side deals where you grant a patent license that stops someone from exercising their full GPL rights. It tries to block those kinds of loopholes.
Okay, that seems pretty comprehensive on the patent front. And just quickly, like a lot of open source licenses, it has those warranty disclaimers, right? Sections 15 and 16.
Right. Standard stuff, but important. There is no warranty for the program and limits on liability. This is common for free software. It protects developers who are sharing their work, often for free. It fosters collaboration, rather than putting all the burden on one person or company.
So we have these powerful freedoms protected in quite specific ways, but freedom often comes with responsibility. What does this mean for you, the listener, if you decide to use, modify, or share GPL licensed software? What do you have to do?
Good question. The responsibilities are key to making the whole system work. The preamble and Section 4 are clear. If you distribute or modify GPL software, you've got obligations. 1. You must pass on the same freedoms you received to anyone you give the software to. Whether you charge them money or not doesn't matter. The freedoms must travel with the code.
Okay, pay it forward.
Exactly. 2. You have to make sure they get, or can easily get, the source code. And 3, you must show them the GPL terms so they know their rights and responsibilities too.
Now, about that source code. You mentioned earlier the term corresponding source from Section 1 when you're giving out the compiled version. What exactly does that include? Is it just the raw code files?
It's more than just the raw code. It's defined as all the source code needed to generate, install, and run the object code and to modify the work. That's pretty broad. It includes things like scripts used to control compilation and installation, interface definition files, basically everything needed for someone else to replicate the build process and then start tinkering. It does exclude standard system libraries and general tools that weren't part of the work itself, but the goal is practical modifiability.
Got it. So it's about enabling real changes. What about Section 10's automatic licensing? If I share the software, does the person getting it get their license from me?
No, and this is quite neat. Each time you pass on the software, the recipient automatically gets a license directly from the original creators, the original licensors. It flows directly from the source. And importantly, Section 10 says you are not responsible for enforcing compliance by third parties. You pass it on correctly, your job is done regarding enforcement downstream.
Okay, and that section also has this no further restrictions rule.
Right. You can't add your own rules on top of the GPL.
Yeah.
You can't charge extra license fees or royalties for the GPL rights themselves. You can charge for distribution, support, etc., but not for the license. And you can't, for example, sue someone for patent infringement over the program if that would restrict their GPL rights.
So the license terms are the maximum restrictions allowed. What if someone does violate the terms? Say they distribute without source code or add restrictions. What happens then?
Well, Section 8 covers termination. If you violate the license, your rights under it automatically terminate. Poof, gone.
Just like that. Harsh.
It sounds harsh, but there's a path back. Your rights can be reinstated either provisionally or permanently if you fix the violation. For first-time offenses, if you fix it within 30 days of discovering it, your rights are provisionally restored unless the copyright holder explicitly terminates them. And if the copyright holder doesn't notify you of a violation they spotted within 60 days after you fixed it, your license gets permanently reinstated. But crucially, even if your license is terminated, the licenses of people who receive copies from you are not terminated. The freedom continues downstream.
Okay, that protects the wider community. So flipping it around, if I'm a developer and I want to use GPL v3 for my project, how do I actually do it? The source has a how to apply these terms section.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You need to attach specific notices to your source files, usually the copyright notice, and the statement that the program is distributed under the GPL, pointing to a copy of the license. And importantly, the warranty disclaimer. For programs that have user interaction, they suggest adding commands, maybe like typing show W for warranty info or show C for copying conditions that display the relevant license parts.
Makes it easy for users to check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one final point for that section, it mentions the LGPL, the Lesser General Public License. This is important for library developers.
How so?
Well, if your code is a library and you want to allow proprietary non-free applications to link with your library without forcing the entire application to become GPL, then you should probably use the LGPL, not the standard GPL. The standard GPL is stricter. Generally, combining GPL code with non-GPL code requires the whole thing to be distributed under the GPL. The LGPL provides a specific exception for linking libraries.
Okay, that's a key distinction for developers choosing a license. So wrapping this up, we've gone pretty deep into the GNU GPL v3. It's definitely more than just legalese, isn't it? It's a statement, a declaration about software freedom, prioritizing that over, well, over price.
Absolutely. It's designed to guarantee your ability to use, share, and crucially, modify the software that runs your world. And it puts up specific barriers against things like tivoization or patents being used to take away that control, especially over your own devices.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on. You know, as our lives get more tangled up in complex tech, more software embedded in everything,
Wow.
how might these foundational ideas, these principles from licenses like GPL v3, continue to shape things? Where does technology ownership and user autonomy go from here? And what does that mean for that ongoing tug of war between innovation, making money, and, well, fundamental user rights? Definitely something to think about.